We've seen so many WWE stars get released recently, right? But one star that I actually forgot about and kind of wondered what their status was going to be was Daniel Bryan. Today on the show, we're going to be talking about the latest news and what it could mean for his status with WWE 2K22. That episode for you all is right now. Ladies and sirs, welcome to Assemble. I'm Matt. Good to see you and good to have all your faces there on the internet joining me today because we are going to be talking about WWE 2K22. I know that WWE has put Daniel Bryan over on the WWE alumni section on their website. We haven't seen Bryan since WrestleMania when he got stacked and pinned by Roman Reigns, the head of the table, the man. Did you guys watch SmackDown? Did you see the latest SmackDown when they had the fans back? That did get me very excited, by the way. And Roman Reigns has got to be the biggest thing. Anyways, I'm going off on a tangent. What I wondered about was what the status would be for Daniel Bryan when it comes to WWE 2K22. And his overall status with the company has been kind of a mystery since he left after WrestleMania. People haven't known if he's like totally released, gone from the company. You know, the rumors obviously of him going somewhere else like New Japan or AEW, being able to pop up there, which would be pretty damn incredible when you think about it, right? But for the video game itself, I did wonder, would he actually be in the game? Obviously, his motion capture and everything would have been done, and I'm speculating there, but I would assume, and it would be safe to assume that all of that would have been done. We've had him over previous years. There wouldn't be much to change other than maybe update some of the graphics and a little bit of his moveset and his attire. There really isn't too much to change when it comes to Bryan for this year's game. But do you think that Bryan would actually be in WWE 2K22 this year? From the Wrestling Observer, Bryan Alvarez actually outlined that Daniel Bryan had been left out of some recent WWE projects. Dave Meltzer cites this for the Bryan Alvarez piece, and it goes like this. There's some WWE projects being done. It might be the video game because when WWE started releasing all of those people, I mean, one of the things that people don't think about is when they do this with no warning, that the folks that do stuff like the video game, all of a sudden they have to scramble to take people out of the video game because WWE doesn't like having people in the video game where they are paying royalties to somebody that is no longer with them anymore. I'm not sure if it's a video game or what it is, but one of these projects that involves obviously the wrestlers in WWE, they were altered today that this person were no longer with WWE, and one of the people they mentioned was Daniel Bryan. Realistically, he's not with the company, that's true, but that's an indication that at this point, take him out of whatever project this is because he's not with the company. Now, this is a little bit of the, the Dave Meltzer speculation and Bryan Alvarez going off a little bit about how WWE would have many projects going on, and doesn't necessarily mean that it is the video game itself that they're referring to. But we know that with recent releases of Malachi Black, Tommy End, Braun Strowman, Lana, Ruby Riott, stars like this are obviously not going to be in this year's game. It would also mean that stars like them and Daniel Bryan would potentially not be in other WWE projects unless that was all signed off. But like they said in the article, they don't want to be paying royalties. WWE doesn't want to be paying royalties to these people if they're not actually with the organization. Daniel Bryan is just such an interesting case. That's why I wanted to talk to all of you today about this, because Bryan is kind of in a nebulous state when it comes to his contract and not knowing what he's doing and where he's going. If there were projects that Daniel Bryan was involved in, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the video game. It could very well be that, but it could be a WWE 24 special. It could be behind the scenes, a day of special that they do. It could be just simple interviews that he was scheduled to be a part of or already shot, and they don't want to use that footage of him in those interviews for other specials or documentaries or things like that. But my question to all of you is, do you think that Daniel Bryan will be in WWE 2K22, or do you think he is out? He is that one star that I think is just in such a fascinating position right now as the game, we're getting closer and closer to a reveal, hopefully in August, hopefully around SummerSlam to find out more about the game. But this is what's causing an issue with WWE 2K22 overall, right? And 2K games, is that we have such a changeover with rosters that a game like this with WWE, you can't predict who's going to be coming and going. A game can release and then they can let big stars go the next day. It's just kind of the reality of it, and it is what it is. It just puts the game companies in a bad spot when they have to reshuffle the deck, rip stars out of the game that maybe they already had put in there. It overhauls a little bit and it messes up their timelines. It's got to mess up with them a little bit when they're trying to actually produce these games and get them out on time. And it's different than other sports franchises, right? Because you can just take an NBA star or an MLB star and you could just put them into a different team, a different league, or they're just going down to AA, AAA. It's not that big of a deal. You can change that around quite a bit and it's not going to impact anything. But when it comes to the world of wrestling, it is very different because everything is contracted with these stars. And when it comes to Daniel Bryan, it is that really big, interesting piece, because if you don't have him in the game, that's another big superstar that you are losing from this franchise. And this is why I feel like it's very important for 2K to look at the longevity of this series and actually change maybe up their whole way of doing it to make it hit different, as they like to say. I feel like more and more, it needs to go to much more of a live service model where we have one title, one WWE game every few years where they can do incremental updates by adding, removing stars, updating entrances, attires, motions. Like, they can unload all of these packs and upload these pieces of content year after year to be able to make it, to maximize what the game can do in its longevity. Graphically, it's going to kind of hit a plateau, right? And it can't do much more. But if you see a star like Daniel Bryan, who is scheduled to be in the game, potentially removed from the title already, what if he comes back in 6 months and then fans are going to be really upset that they can't get him back in the game, even though they probably already have his likeness, his motion capture, everything already done and just sitting there. That's why I feel like it's more important now more than ever to have a game that you can actually build upon as kind of a platform for years to come. But I understand it's 2K and we got to make money. It's a video game industry. They want to make as much money as possible when it comes to a title like this. So clearly they're going to franchise this thing and they would annualize it no matter what. But what do you all think about Daniel Bryan potentially being out of this game? Do you think that this article holds any truth and any merit, that a project could have been the WWE 2K22 title and Bryan is out of this thing? Very curious to see where we end up when it comes to roster reveals and what this roster is going to look like, because it feels pretty thin at this point. Still got Tribal Chief though. I can do Tribal Chief, I could do The Rock, I can get Austin, I can get Triple H. The creation suite better be good, man, because we got a lot that we're gonna have to get in there, because you guys out there that are top creators, I'm gonna be spending the first month probably downloading new arenas, championships, and like every superstar ever. 2K19's been a lot of fun though recently. Like, honestly, I did the episode on it like a week ago or whatever. I'm having a lot more fun with it because I went back and I created AEW and I got a Dynamite show. I'm very, very happy because like half the roster is just in the game, is actually in the game, and I just move them over. It's very fun. I enjoy that. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and I'll see you on the next episode. See ya.